Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy T for 365 Horror, and this is a horror movie discovery channel. I am just here to put as many horror movies on your watch list as possible. And in today's video, we are going to be looking at 5 brand new releases for you guys to watch and stream today. So let's get into it right now. Now we are going to get into the video, but before we do, I've got to remind you guys to please like and subscribe if you like this content. Also, this video is best watched with the movie tracker. I like to use Letterboxd. It's just the easiest way to keep track of the movies that you've seen and want to see. I also want to touch on the availability of these titles, as I have personally went to each of the services and verified that these movies are available. If you aren't seeing them, there's probably one of 2 reasons. One, you might be region locked. Sometimes movies don't come out in Canada right away and it takes them a little while. The second reason could be, if you're not seeing these movies, that if you're using some of the alternative media sites or any of the free stuff, some of these movies just came out yesterday, so they really don't show up on those sites for a couple days. And lastly, this is just a preview. These are not reviews and recommendations. As always, I have included chapters down in the description, so if you don't like any of the trailer reactions or any of the movies, you can always move on to the next one. And if you did want to see some reviews and recommendations, then I suggest you watch my Every Movie I Watched in a Month series, my You Should Watch series, or any of my movie list series. This here is just a little something for the diehards like me that are always looking for something new to watch. And with that, let's get right into the new movies. So the first movie we're going to take a look at this week is a straight horror named Street Trash, and this movie's available on Shudder and AMC+. A group of homeless misfits must fight for survival when they discover a plot to exterminate every homeless person in the city. It is directed by Ryan Kruger. Okay, after watching the trailer for Street Trash, this looks like a brutal body horror gore fest. Now, when it comes to the creeps and scares, I really don't think we're going to get any in this film. Now, moving on to the gore, I really think that the gorehounds are in for a treat on this one, because this looks like just a completely disgusting body horror. But I can't lie, I'm kind of excited because we just see everything from decapitations to humongous, gross, disgusting boils popping to cars running over people and them exploding in bloody blood bags to throat slashings and so much more. And one of the things I definitely appreciated is that it all looks practical and none of it looked CGI. Now, some of the scenes in the trailer even had my face kind of scrunching up just with some of the stuff they were showing on screen. So even for a gorehound like myself, this is definitely something to look forward to. Now, the character work looked alright, but that mixed with the production budget definitely gives this movie more of a B-movie feel. Now, it looks like the story of this film definitely comes with a bit of a societal, social narrative, as we see homeless people take an experimental drug and fight back against the rich. Now, although this movie looks alright, I really do think that it lives and dies on the gore, and anybody who's more focused on a story-driven narrative or doesn't really care about this gore might find the movie kind of light and cheesy. I love a gore fest, and sometimes that can really balance out kind of bad acting or a bad story, so for me, this one's going to get a regular spot on my watch list.
What the fuck? There's another one! Go! Go! I present to you the crew, the most incredible crackheads that you'll ever meet.
Next movie we're going to look at is a fantasy horror named Rita, and this movie is available on Shudder and AMC+.
Yo sí creo en la profecía. Pienso que ese ángel sos vos.
Rita, a 13-year-old girl, runs away from her abusive father to the big city. She finds solace until she's placed in a safe house run by the state. Rita and her cellmates plot an escape that ends in a shocking act of violence. It is directed by Jairo Bustamante. Okay, so after watching the trailer for Rita, this looks like an interesting dark fantasy horror film. This film seems more rooted in a dark story and a struggling narrative, so I don't think we're going to get that many traditional creeps and scares here. Now also, when it comes to the gore in this film, what we see in the trailer is next to none, but just some of the actions that we see in the trailer and some of the things that kind of go on implies to me that we may see actions that are a lot more disgusting and disturbing than just traditional gore. Now the acting and production on this one looks competent and serious, which is especially hard when you're dealing with somewhat of a younger cast. Now, the story on this one looks like a compelling tale of escape and hardship, and even though we're not going to get a traditional creep or scare model, I do think we're going to get something that's just really hard to watch and is going to be scary in its own way and will definitely hit different when you take into account that this is based on a true story. This movie really could turn out to be one of those kind of girl next door, icky shockers that really lingers with you well after the time you've watched it. Now, honestly, if you look on some sites, this movie is categorized as just fantasy, but being on Shudder, I looked deeper into the movie and I saw that it actually was kind of a dark fantasy horror. Because it is Shudder, so I did kind of just assume it, and that's why I added it. So I am interested to see if this movie can actually be dark enough for me to consider it a full horror, and it's going to get a regular spot on my watch list.
Cerca el fuego dice pacto de sangre.
Pacto de sangre.
Pacto de sangre.
Next movie we're going to take a look at is a horror mystery thriller called Smile 2, and this movie's available on VOD Digital. About to embark on a world tour, global pop sensation Sky Riley begins experiencing increasingly terrifying and inexplicable events. Overwhelmed by the escalating horrors and the pressures of fame, Sky is forced to face her past. It is directed by Parker Finn. Okay, so before we get into the trailer of Smile 2, I've got to give a full caveat that I have seen this movie before, and I thought that it was a good, dark, supernatural curse horror. Now, when it came to the creeps and scares in this film, I thought that it had some really creepy moments, and it was coupled with some really good, intense jump scares. Now, when it came to the gore in this film, I thought that it was quite good as well, because you do get some brutal kills and some painful, practical gore. The cast of this movie is great and the characters are played well. Now, Naomi Scott does a commendable job of showing a wide range of intense emotions and a great psychotic break as the smile curse ravages her life. Now, the story by virtue can't be unique because it is Smile 2, but I do think that we get a unique pop star angle look at life, and it's just filled with so many kind of cringeworthy moments in everything from fan reactions to rehearsals. Now, I gotta be honest, I really do think Smile 2 is better than the first one, and if you like what you saw from the trailer or you liked part 1, I really think that this movie deserves a higher priority on your watch list.
Lewis?
No! Get away from me! What?
He was smiling at me.
Next movie we're going to take a look at is a drama horror called The Shade, and this movie's available on VOD Digital. Following the loss of his father, a grieving 20-year-old struggles to hold his family together as an unspeakable darkness plagues his older brother. It is directed by Tyler Chipman. Okay, so after watching the trailer for The Shade, this looks like a pretty creepy psychological drama horror. Now, when it comes to the creeps and scares of the film, we definitely get some good creeps from the outset, and a lot of visions the main character were having of this, woman, they were just creepy and twitchy. And to add to the creepy elements, I really did think that the woman herself was even creepy. And like I had said, a lot of her kind of weird, twitchy movement made me think that there's going to be a good amount of jump scares as well. Now, even though I'm not really familiar with the cast in the film, I did think that the performances looked decent, and I'm sure because it's a drama horror, we're actually going to get more of a deeper story of the relationships between the brothers. Now, the story for this one isn't really original. We have two characters that are kind of haunted by their past in these visions, but again, the woman looked pretty creepy, so depending on how exactly the movie is executed, and by the nature of kind of this dark backstory that we're gonna find out, I really think that they could mix it together and give us some good creepy moments and great revelations. Overall, I did think that The Shade had a pretty good creepy look, and it's gonna get a regular priority on my watch list.
When was your last panic attack?
Last night, I saw something. It's hard to explain.
Now, the last movie we're going to look at this week is a horror romance thriller called Swap, and this movie is available on Apple Plus and VOD Digital. A young couple is lured into the clutches of a bloodthirsty 500-year-old vampire. The exotic stranger tries to persuade them to swap partners and join his kind. It is directed by Dallas King. Okay, so after watching the trailer for Swap, this looks like a sexy, erotic, romance vampire horror. Now, if you're one of those people who really just watches horror movies for the creeps and scares, I just get the feeling that you may want to avoid this film. Now, when it came to the gore in this film, it didn't look like it was going to be anything extreme. I'm sure we're going to get a lot of dripping blood and blood on faces, but seeing that this story is supposedly rooted in a romance, I just don't think it's going to be a focus of the film. Now, when it comes to the characters in the film, the first thing I want to touch on is the casting. As this is supposed to be kind of an erotic romance movie, I did think that their casting did kind of fit the characters well, and I'm talking about both the men and the women. Now, even though the characters fit the bill when it comes to their hotness, I just felt a lot of the acting questionable and the dialogue felt stiff and wooden. Now, even though it wasn't horrible acting, honestly, it just wasn't great. Now, the story for this one seems alright, but nymphomaniac vampires seducing normies to use them for blood bags is just nothing new. After watching the trailer, this film felt very 50 Shades of Grey mixed with swinging vampires. And trust me, when I use 50 Shades of Grey as a descriptor, I really do think it's fitting because we see everything from scantily clad vampires making out in hot tub jacuzzis to bedrooms, and I think they even threw an O-face in the trailer. Now, to be completely honest, I'm not really into horror romances, but just like I heard from you guys from Your Monster, this movie might have kind of a darker element that I just didn't see. So unless I hear from you guys that this one was alright or had some sort of certain darkness to it, I may have to give this a lower priority on my watch list.
It's just sex. The first day, I felt like a volcano. Everything inside of me boiled up until I couldn't take it anymore. And now, I can't get enough.
Well, guys, that's going to do it for another episode of brand new releases for you guys to watch and stream. Again, I hoped you liked this content, and if you did find a couple of gems to put on your watch list, please leave me a like and subscribe. Now, if I had to pick a couple of movies this week, the first one I would pick is definitely Smile 2. I just thought the movie was good and creepy. I liked the story. Again, I really liked Naomi Scott in kind of that celebrity role. I liked how they showed us parts of the celebrity life and how the smile curse kind of affected even a pop star, which I just thought was kind of an interesting angle. So I think that this movie is definitely a must watch. And for my second pick of the week, I think I definitely have to go a little more lowbrow and just go for the straight, gory, street trash movie. I just thought it looked good. It looked like it had a lot of disgusting practical gore. Now, I know that the story and the acting might not be exactly something to write home about, but I do think we're going to see something disgusting. There was just some really disgusting moments in the trailer, so I am looking forward to that. I do realize, again, you're not watching this movie for the story or anything more than just a bloodbath, and I think it's gonna deliver. So that's gonna be my second pick of the week. Well, guys, that's gonna do it. And if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I have got to get out of here as I have got a ton of movies to watch. I hope you guys have been good and taking care of yourselves, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.